If we look at this coin here, this coin sold on eBay for over $800 because it has been double struck. Now personally, if you find something like this, I would recommend that you get it graded by a coin grading company, because you may even be able to sell for more money depending on the grade of the coin. Now this thing is absolutely amazing. I love it, man. Just imagine finding something like this in a coin roll from the bank and then being able to sell it for, you know, $800 to $1,000. I mean, that would be pretty amazing, right? So definitely an awesome coin. Let's move on to another coin. Now this is the 1996 Washington quarter, the D mint mark. So the D mint mark, if you're not familiar with quarters, is going to be right there. And this coin is valuable because of its high grade. So the coin grading scale, like I always say, goes up to 70. This is graded at a 68. So that means it's nearly a perfect condition coin. Very, very close. And this coin here, because of that high grade, sold for over $400. Now here's a coin that's sold on eBay. Now I get a lot of pictures in my email from the members that ask me about these rings around the coin. Now you see the ring going around the coin there. Now that is not an error, that is damage. However, if we zoom in here to the top of Washington's head, you can see that there is a line there. Now that is what's known as a die crack. So we also have that here on the reverse by United States. There's another example of the die crack on this coin. And then we could see that going through dollar, the O in dollar, really well there. So it's not going to be a super valuable coin, but the coin sold for over $10. I mean, if you find a quarter with the die crack like this in this condition, and you can turn 25 cents into $10 and ship it for nearly nothing, I mean, why not make it, you know, an easy $8, you know? Alright, so this coin here is sold on eBay as well. This is a 1996 quarter that has been struck off center. You can see that it is the P mint mark, and this coin here sold for a little over $20. For the 1996 P mint mark with the high grade of a mint state 68, sold for over $400 as well. So that is why the coin's valuable, because of its high grade. Now if we move on to the 1996 proof quarter, this is the clad version. So there is a clad, which is not silver, and then a silver version. So this is graded at a perfect grade, a proof 70, got the S mint mark. Now this coin sold for a little over $150. And if we go here to the 1996 S proof that is silver, as we can see here on the coin slab, this silver quarter here sold for nearly $200. With that perfect grade as well, a proof 70 deep cameo. Now check out these other quarters and different types of errors you should be looking for on your coins that can make them valuable. First, on all of your 1970 quarters, you want to look for doubling on the front of the coin. This is a 1970 D Diver minted Washington quarter that has doubling on the front. So a double die obverse, DDO for short. Now it's doubling on the date. Also look for it in the lettering in Galway Trust, as well as the word Liberty. Here is that 1970 D that has that doubling. Now it is graded at a mint state 65. If you're not familiar with coin grading, just go type in coin grading couch collectibles on YouTube and you will find my videos on that. Now this quarter here sold for over $2,800. That is amazing, $2,800. Moving on to a 1970 D, you want to look for doubling on the back of the quarter. You see doubling really there on the U and on the leaves above that. So want to look for doubling on the reverse of this quarter, on the lettering, as well as on the leaves. And then here is that quarter that has that doubling. And this 1970 D Washington quarter sold for over $260. Also, for the 1971 Washington quarter, you want to look for doubling on the reverse as well. You can see that doubling on the lettering United States. You really see it there on the first S there. You can really see it on the left side of the screen. Now here is an example of a 1971 double die reverse. And this one does have a high grade of a mint state 65, graded by PCGS, with that double die reverse, and this quarter here sold for over $8,800. Ooh, one of my favorite quarters ever. If you guys ever find these, you definitely always want to search for errors. They are the Bicentennial quarters. You see them from 1776 to 1976. that is the Bicentennial quarter. Now they actually produced these in 1975 and 1976, but you only see the 1976 on the quarter. But you want to look for doubling on the obverse of the coin, so the front of the coin. You see the doubling there on Liberty, the LI, the TY there, so very good example. If you want to see your coins up close like that, get a USB coin microscope, link in the comments below. Here's a 1976 quarter, graded by PCGS at a mint state 62. It has that doubling on the front of the coin, the double die obverse. And this Bicentennial quarter sold for over $800. $800 for that Bicentennial quarter. Now I also want to show you guys something for the Bicentennial quarter. Here is a regular 1976. Now it's graded at a very high grade, mint state 68, so it's in very good condition. It's the 1976D. Now that's why it's valuable. It's graded very, very high. This quarter sold for over $6,400. Now this one is not silver. However, if we look at this other one, I want to tell you guys that there are silver versions of these coins out there. So the 1976, there are silver. I have a whole video on the 1976 quarter explaining how you can tell the difference between silver and non-silver. Now this quarter here is the silver version. It's graded almost at a perfect grade, a mint state 69. It is the 1976 S mint mark. So of course, if it's the S mint mark version of this quarter, it's gonna be silver. Now this coin sold for over $5,800. Here's the stock image of the 1965 Washington quarter. You can see that this is the mintage for the no mint mark quarter, meaning that it was produced in Philadelphia. Now you can see that they produced over 1.8 billion of these quarters. So how in the world could one be valuable? And that is exactly what we're gonna answer. Well, first let's look at a couple errors here. This coin is not extremely valuable, but we're gonna look at valuable and non-valuable and look at the difference here in just a minute. But this is actually just an error coin on the 1965 quarter. Now it is off center. You can see that most noticeably to the top right of the coin. And then we see that there at the bottom right, of course, there on the reverse of the coin. Now this quarter only sold for over $15, so not worth really getting graded. Probably cost you more than that to get it graded, but still an awesome coin if you do find an off center in circulation or when you're coin roll hunting to add to your coin collection. Now this next one is extremely off center. It's a 1965 quarter that's been struck 35% off center, and you can see that clearly in the images displayed. Now something like this is going to be much more valuable and more sought after by coin collectors. Now this quarter here sold for over $250. Moving right along to a 1965 Washington quarter that was struck on a nickel planchet. Now this will make the coin extremely valuable, and it also is graded at a mint state 63, so that will give it some value as well. Now if we look at these images of this 1965, you can see there at the top of the coin that Liberty is getting cut off. The design of the quarter can't fit on this planchet because it was struck on a nickel planchet. Now you can see that they're taking place at the bottom of the quarter on the reverse as well. And that is what's going to give this coin value. It's a high graded coin. It has that error. Now if you guys want to know if your coin's been struck on a 5-cent planchet, just weigh it. You can weigh it. A nickel weighs 5 grams. A 1965 quarter would weigh 5.67 grams. But again, you can also tell just by the design of the quarter when it's being struck. It looks like it's being struck off center. However, it was actually struck on a nickel. So always be on the lookout for that. This coin sold for over $5,000. $5,000 quarter. Alright, another thing that's going to make a 1965 quarter valuable is if it just has an extremely high grade. These are very hard to come by, guys. If you find a 1965 quarter in your pocket change, it's most likely only going to be worth 25 cents unless it has any type of errors or high grades. Now high grades, you're probably not going to find in pocket change because the coins are most likely circulated, scratched up, and they're only going to be worth face value. However, this coin here is graded at a mint state 67. The grading scale only goes up to 70, so it's an extremely high grade. Now that is what makes the coin valuable, and that's why this quarter sold for over $2,500. Now let's move on to the error that we've all been waiting for. Now this is an extremely valuable coin. Now, these next two coins are extremely valuable coins, and I'm going to show you exactly what to look for. So, this is a 1965 Washington quarter that sold for over $5,400, and I'm going to show you why in just 1 second. Now, this quarter doesn't have a high grade. It's graded at an extra fine 45. It's been struck on a silver 25-cent planchet. So you guys know in 1964 they stopped producing silver quarters. 1965 were clad quarters. They were non-silver. So if you found a 1965 that's actually silver, you're talking some big money. Now here's the 1964 silver quarter. It weighs 6.25 grams, and you can see that the 1965 non-silver is supposed to weigh 5.67 grams. So if you guys want to weigh your coins, you can get a coin scale on couchcollectibles.com. Links down in the description of every single video. But anyways, that is what makes the coin valuable. It's been struck on a silver planchet. It wasn't supposed to be silver because it was made in 1965. Now this coin here sold for over $5,400. Now this next coin here is also a 1965 that has been struck on a silver planchet, and this coin here sold for over $7,200. So always be on the lookout for those, guys. Very simple to look for. You just put your 1965s on the scale, weigh them. Now the weight could vary based on if the coins really wore out or not. However, you should be able to tell the difference between a 6.25 gram coin and a 5.67 gram coin. Don't forget to subscribe in the middle, check out the videos to the left of me, and until tomorrow, I'll see you on the comment section below. This is Couch Collectibles, and this is where I disappear.